Welcome to Happy Hour with Haley. I'm Haley Chura, and this week we are joined once again by Samantha Rothberg. Sam, I can see you are decked out in a Seattle Seahawks hat. We are recording before the Super Bowl, and this episode will air after the Super Bowl. And clearly you have a horse in the race.
I do. It has been a very exciting year. I am not from Seattle. I've seen the Seahawks play twice in real life in New York, but I'm still a diehard Seahawks fan. So I'm very excited. And also, I loathe the Patriots. So I would be rooting for anybody who is against the Patriots anyway.
Okay, because you live in New York, you grew up in New York, you live in the Hamptons now,
I do.
so out east, as you say,
Yes.
east of the city, um, but you hate the Patriots. Why?
As a New Yorker, it's in our blood, but I also went to college in New England. So everybody around me was a Pats fan, and they're tough cookies. So I decided that I had to up the ante and just go in even more as a New Yorker and somebody who was surrounded by Pats fans, had to just double down on disliking them.
Okay, and why pick Seattle? I mean, there are teams in New
I
York
know.
too.
There are. Well, first of all, I'm Mets and Jets, so I'm cursed with losing all the time. It's just
Okay.
a dynasty of losing. But I had a friend who was a big Seahawks fan, and they introduced me to the Seahawks, and I just love the 12s. I love the fans. I fell in love a little bit with Pete Carroll, who was the coach at the time. He's no longer the coach. Now we have a Georgia alum, actually. Mike McDonald is the coach. He is the second youngest coach in the NFL. And I just thought the team was great. And I love what they've rebuilt. And they have a female owner now. And she gives a lot to charity. She's super philanthropic and seems like a great woman. So check, check, check. And now we're headed to the Super Bowl.
So what are you doing for the Super Bowl? Again, this will air afterwards, but are you superstitious? Do you go somewhere to watch it? Are you watching alone? Do you watch with a group? What's
Well,
happening?
we are having our coldest weekend ever out here. So if I have the gumption to leave the house, I will be going to a local restaurant that is showing it in their beer garden. And I may even have an alcoholic beverage. And I will be wearing this hat. I decided, as I'm superstitious, to not buy anything else, but just wear this hat that I've worn for every game. So I'm currently overheating, but I can't take it off once I put it on.
Yeah, for our YouTube viewers, you can obviously see Sam's hat. For anyone listening, it is a very nice winter ski hat type of beanie, but Seahawks branded. Well, good luck to your Seahawks this weekend. I will be watching for the Bad Bunny concert and commercials. I love some
And
marketing.
Green Day concert.
Green Day. Oh wait, when is Green Day playing?
They're opening.
Oh, they have an opener for an opener for the halftime show or opener for the game?
For the game.
What is this? Everything is entertainment now.
Everything. I mean, between this, the Olympics, which we'll get to later, I'm just like overstimulated by sports and celebratory events, which is a great distraction right now.
Right. Okay. Well, you mentioned going to a beer garden, and this is happy hour. We are supposed to come with a beverage. I'm excited to show you what mine is because
Uh-oh.
this is in your honor, just for you. Look at what I have.
Okay.
I have a Diet Coke for anyone who is listening. I have not drank a Diet Coke since the last time I was an auditor, I think. Which
I have never seen you with a Diet Coke.
I haven't drank a Diet Coke in more than a decade, I don't think, but I figured this was the occasion for it. I have it here. I did bring my Life of a Showgirl glass, made a second appearance, and so I'm not a big Diet Coke drinker. I feel like it's very in vogue these days. But cheers to you and your Seahawks and Taylor Swift. Here we go.
You need to get a fountain soda though. Like that's level one.
That is a very New Yorker comment because I'm going to call you out on this because I did something in your honor, but it wasn't good enough.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's not me. I want you to have the ultimate Diet Coke experience, and I'm scared you're not going to like it if it's not a fountain soda.
I liked it. It was good. It was good. I did used to drink Diet Coke a lot when I worked in an office, and then one day someone told me Diet Coke would kill me, and I just stopped. And so
Okay.
that's what happened. I don't know. I just believe them. But I
Okay.
haven't drank Diet Coke since then. I drink a lot of regular Coke. The full fat Coke, full sugar Coke. I'm not a huge aspartame fan, but I also do not love caffeine after noon. But, cheers. Occasionally you got to do it.
So how does it taste?
It's great. It's great. What do
Good.
they call it? The fridge cigarette. Yeah,
That's
I got
right.
it. I'm off for the day. It's late in the day, but I am off. And so we are cheersing. What are you having?
I have an Aplos, which is a non-alcoholic chili margarita because I love
Ooh.
a spicy margarita, but I have a very tough training week this week and figured that this would not be the time to have a drink. But
Um, I think there's some great, great non-alcoholic drinks out there right now. I had that
mhm.
Gia the other day. Really loved that. Especially if you can put it into a fun glass. Are you just drinking it straight from the can?
Oh, no, no. I have my small
Oh,
ice,
and
and this is
ice.
a West Hampton Beach Brewery cup that I think I got at a 5K, but this is also
Okay.
my run club, so it's in honor of them too.
I think the fun glass makes it. That really does make it. As the beverage connoisseur that I am, fun drink, fun glass. It does not have to be alcoholic, but well, cheers. Enjoy
Cheers.
your non-alcoholic
I
beverage, and I will enjoy my fridge cigarette.
I'm honored that you're having a Diet Coke in my honor.
Thank you. Well, next time I haven't been to McDonald's in quite a while. I mean, I used to go to McDonald's a lot when I had longer bike rides. I feel like it's a great ride stop on a long ride, but I haven't done one of those in a while. So I will head to McDonald's. I'll get a fountain Diet Coke one
I
of
just
these
want you to have
days.
a good experience, but I am truly honored. Speaking of McDonald's, I did see that the one in Topa stays open late or has historically stayed open late after the Ironman finishes. So we can have some
Oh,
fountain sodas then.
perfect. Because the last thing you want to do after an Ironman is sleep. So we need some caffeine to stay up
Oh, a
even later.
Sprite from McDonald's? That'll send you to the moon. It's so fizzy. It's the best.
I like these plans. We are going to talk more about your training for Ironman New Zealand in a minute, but because I have I have my showgirl glass, and there was some Taylor Swift news this week. You texted me about it, and it was her new music video. So what do you think about her new music video?
Well, have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, you're very
It just came
busy.
out today, and I will say I'm a pretty focused auditor, and I feel like nothing's on my phone. It's all like on the computer, right? And on my work computer. And so I find myself ignoring the world except for, someone else's money, which I am actively counting.
That's what they
But
want in a good auditor, though. So you're crushing
yes.
it.
Yes, so I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's great, 90s themed. Can you tell me about it? Is it worth watching?
It's definitely worth watching for a couple reasons. One is it's everybody that she was on the Graham Norton show with, which is an English talk show, and everybody sits around on the couch and they drink wine together. And one of the people jokingly said, I would love to be in a Taylor Swift music video. And so they're all in it. And there's a ton of references to her exes, and it's just great. It's very Taylor Swift. But one of the reasons that I like it is there is this whole 90s awkward dance scene. First, they have a JCPenney basically catalog shoot, and then they have an awkward dance scene. And you and I are self-described non-dancers, I would say, and we had tried to learn, or we had said we were going to learn one of her other dances from the music video from The Life of a Showgirl, and we never did. But I think we could totally handle this, and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I think we could do it. It's just them sort of like awkwardly moving around, and she leans into the cringe, and I think it is a simple enough choreography that you and I could handle it. So coming to you from New
Okay.
Zealand.
Yes, maybe this is. Yeah, we had initially thought maybe in Hawaii we would do a learn the life of Ophelia dance, fate of Ophelia
Fate of Ophelia,
dance,
yep.
and we did not do that. There's just a
Well,
lot going on
you were
Ironman week.
busy. You had a couple of
I was
things
busy
going
and
on.
didn't really have like more like energy to like do exercise, especially. I feel like dance is definitely exercise, but it sounds like, okay, so this one might be a little bit more our speed.
Hmm.
So maybe, yeah, while in New Zealand, because if our listeners haven't figured that out, you are racing Ironman New Zealand. It is your first Ironman. Our other co-host, Katie Treston Torney, also racing as a pro. I am also attending, not racing. I'll be there cheering, coaching, and special surprise, I think as a member of the commentary team.
Woo!
I know. Cheers to
So
that. So to anyone who did reach out, I know I posted the video on my Instagram last November when I announced my retirement saying I was very interested in doing some commentary for Ironman. And Ironman listened. So thank you to everyone who kind of did put a good word for me out there. I am not sure I will actually be on camera. So part of the commentary team actually on camera talking, that has not been confirmed, but I am at least included in a production call. So that is a first step. And so maybe like keep it going. Say you want to see me on camera. Say you think I'm a great talker. We'll see what happens. But I think it's a cool opportunity, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
well, I vote for you to be on camera. But the only downside is I won't be able to see you. Like, I'm
You will
going to be
not
so
because you're
excited for
racing.
you. I know. I know.
It will be a wild race morning, I feel like, because it's like I imagine I probably have to be there even earlier than you do.
That is probably true if you're going out on a boat. But I don't,
So yeah, so I'll be like sneaking out, or I'll be having my breakfast, my pre-commentary breakfast, like way before anyone else is up.
it's actually a late start because it's a mass start.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's the
interesting.
last mass start. So the pros go, I think it's the men and the women, and then age group starts at 8.
Okay. And so that is fascinating. I forgot about that this is the last full distance Ironman with a mass start.
I haven't. I'm
And
having nightmares about being elbowed, and my teeth are going to need to be replaced again.
I raced several Ironmans with a mass start many, many years ago. This is the wonderful thing about being older. I have all this life experience, and I loved it a little bit as a swimmer. I think it was fun. I think the videos and like the photos you get are like spectacular. And honestly, when I've looked at some of the videos of past Konas when we had a mass start, I'm like, why would anyone do that? That looks terrifying. And Kona was terrifying. Kona was very bad, especially when it was men and women age groupers together, 2000, mostly men starting. And then I felt a little singled out sometimes because the women would have pink caps and the men would have green caps. And triathlete men don't always want a woman in front of them. And so the first 5 minutes would be pretty horrible, but then it would clear out a little. I understand why Ironman has changed that because it is very stressful. And I think the waves and time trial starts have made the sport more accessible. So I'm all for that. But I'm kind of excited about that, about watching that mass start.
It'll be something. I mean, my local races are their wave starts, but we start in the water for all of them. But they separate the men and women, so I'll end up like catching up to some of the men who are more back of the pack. But we start in water, so I'm used to an in water start, but not with 3,000 people. But we can discuss offline the strategy for that one.
No, this isn't online. Online.
Oh,
This is what the
online.
podcast
Okay.
is for. I mean, because I think there are probably a lot of people who have the same questions that you have. And so you are nervous about that. You're nervous about being elbowed. Is that what you're nervous about?
I think that's what it is. I've recently gotten very protective of my teeth, given that they were just replaced last year. So I'm not as nervous about like swimming close to people. That doesn't stress me out. Just, you know, gentle touching or whatever. But I'm genuinely nervous my new teeth are going to be knocked out.
Okay. I'll say as someone who's done a lot of fairly aggressive mass starts, I have never been hit in the mouth. I think the odds of that are actually pretty low. It's like quite a small area. Like I think the more likely thing you're going to hit is someone's arm. Or like have someone, I mean, maybe I guess they could kick you, but even then, it's just I think it's like actually harder to have that happen. I think what more likely goggles torn off or kind of kicked like your goggles, like an issue with your goggles. That would be what I would say. in a wetsuit too, most people aren't kicking that hard. So I just don't think anyone is going to kick hard enough to knock your teeth out. So I would say though, if you are worried, goggle choice is important, just goggles that aren't going like to hurt your eyes if for some reason they did get hit. So you want some goggles with some cushion and some padding. And then I would just suggest, I think you can start away from people. Like, I don't think everyone needs to be on the
Okay.
very front line. I think it's like if you are nervous, you can start a little bit further back and kind of find some space. I would probably suggest, like, if you're there the days before, kind of look at how the start line, like where it lays out, and then maybe aim. I'm sure they have like buoys leading out to the start. And so you kind of aim for a buoy. Maybe you can like tread water. You are in a wetsuit, so you also could just like float and just like hang out there, like do a little like very light sculling, stay warm before the start. But like just start toward the back. I mean, yes, you're not gonna be on the front. Your swim might end up being a minute longer, but in a day that is going to be like more than 10 hours long, 1 minute is probably not the biggest issue. But you can start like a little calmer, ease into it a little bit more. You don't have to be like super hard off the line. You can kind of like ease into those first like 500 meters. And then it usually like kind of shuffles out after that, I think. So that would be my advice for
Okay.
kind of managing that mass swim. And if something does happen, like the Ironman courses are really well supported as far as like safety personnel on the water. And so if you need help, you can usually get help on a kayak. And sometimes it's as much as like holding onto a kayak or holding onto a buoy or holding onto a resting platform, catching your breath and maybe like adjusting your goggles, that kind of thing, and then doing what you need to do to keep yourself going. And so I don't think it will be as bad as you think.
Fingers crossed. I hope so. I think it'll be great once it gets going. Um, so we'll see. We have a month from today because it's already tomorrow in New Zealand. So 1 month from now. Exactly.
Yes. And it sounds like you've done some research on the race and the course. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So the swim course looks like a pretty solid rectangle. There is a short bit and then a very long part. For one part, you'll be swimming into the sun. So they did talk about goggle choice for that. And it's the largest freshwater lake, I think, in the Southern Hemisphere, or at least in New Zealand. So I'm not used to swimming in lakes, so that'll definitely be interesting. So less buoyancy, but it's completely clear, which is supposed to be incredible. And also, I guess, won't be as bad if, the goggles start to leak a little bit. Um, and then the bike course they actually changed. This is one of the oldest or continuously running Ironman races, and it looks more similar to what the 70.3 Worlds race was, and then doubled, so 2 loops of that. Um, so it looks like it has a little bit of elevation. People are saying on some of the forums that it is harder than it was historically, but I think that's all relative. Some people like flat and fast, some people like little more hills. So this definitely has more elevation, which I prefer that to just flat. And then the run course is 4 laps. And so they say it's very well supported by spectators because you're running on the boardwalks through town. So it's a couple of 10Ks, which I'm excited for. Just to be around people at that point, because that will be the longest I have ever run, worked out.
And you did not race 70.3 Worlds when it was in New Zealand, but did you watch that race? Are you able to gain some intel from just observations?
Not technically, I don't remember that much of it, but I remember people just talking about the vibe and what it was like and how welcoming the Kiwis were to everybody. And I've raced in Australia, I've not raced in New Zealand, but I've met a bunch of Kiwis and they were so friendly. And so I'm a big fan of racing in Oceania so far. So I'm just excited for the people as well. And they seem to really, really look forward and welcome everybody there. So I'm excited to get down there.
What about that 4-lap run course? I can imagine a lot of people might not think that that would be that interesting to run the same loop 4 times. How do you feel about that? Have you ever done anything like that?
I've done one of the halves I did out here which was the Jones Beach, the 70.3 New York, which is now actually a men's pro race this year. So maybe we can get you to commentate on that too. You can come out east.
They
Um,
definitely want me as the commentator for the men's only pro race.
yeah, we need more women's voices. Who cares if they're men or women racing? We need women's voices in general.
Yep. Okay. Well, we'll see. That would be very fun. I'm available. We'll see how this goes in New Zealand, but I'm available for more races if things go well.
There we go.
Putting that out there. But okay, so you have done multiple loops before in a
I
70.3.
yes, I like it. And Chattanooga was two loops of the run as well. I
Mm-hmm.
like it. I sort of dissociate once I got to the second half or the second loop, so we'll see what happens when it's 3 and 4. I did have a nightmare the other night that I got lost on the run course, and I thought I had been like on loop 3, but I didn't have any scrunchies on my wrist because they give out scrunchies so you know what you've done because I'm sure your brain is not firing at that point. So I had a nightmare about that, and I'm going to memorize the course, even though I don't think you can go off of it. Like, you just end up in the water or there's nowhere else to go. But I'm excited. I'm just going to take in the whole experience. And it'll be interesting to race as an experience. And all of this is new. I love being a beginner. So, with other races, with local races or races I've done multiple times, we have either place goals or time goals. And this is just sort of get through it and see if I like the experience, which is a fun place to be for somebody who's been in the sport. I've ran through a whole age group already, so at least 5 years, maybe 6 years.
So old. Oh
I
my
know, I
gosh.
know.
I've done a 4 loop run before, and I do think it is kind of nice. I think I come from a swimming background. I love my laps, and so I think there is a piece of it that helps when you know where the aid stations are. You kind of know where certain markers are. I think one of the hard things can be when they have mile markers or kilometer markers out there, and you're on that first lap, and you're seeing these signs that are like 30K, and you're like, I wish that sign was for me. But also when you get to the point where you're on the fourth lap and the 30K sign is for you, then you're like, hey, yes, about that 7K sign, that one isn't for me anymore. And now I'm on the 37K sign. So I think that there can be a little bit of a psychology involved with that, but it is usually a better supported course. And if they do have it where you can put the wristbands or the scrunchies, it gives you this nice visual of being like when you get your fourth or your third scrunchie, when you start that fourth loop, you're like, okay, this is it. This is it. And I've done a few races where I think I still even have the like little scrunchies, and every now and then I use them for my hair. But
Oh,
so a little souvenir. So it sounds like you've done some good research. It sounds like you were very excited about this course. We talked last time that one of the reasons to choose New Zealand was because of timing, given your job as a personal trainer and where you live in the Hamptons, your summers are very, very busy. So training through the winter works a little bit better for you. And one of the downsides, honestly, is that it gets dark so early, which it does look like you're
I know.
podcasting in the dark here.
I didn't
But
I didn't anticipate that the sun was going to go down, even though I should have known the sun was going to go down.
yes, but how is training going? I mean, are doing a lot of training in the dark? You said this weekend was the coldest potentially weekend you could have. We're 4 weeks out. I know your training as your coach is heavy right now. You're doing a lot of training. How is it?
It is going. I'm consuming a ton of media, like so much media. I actually, speaking of media,
While
learned
you
today
train,
while I train.
so I'm assuming that means you're on the trainer, and you and Katie are both the multitasking queens on the trainer, and so is that where you're consuming your media?
That is where I'm consuming my media. And then afterwards, when I'm too fatigued to do anything else and I'm sitting as still as possible, I am then scrolling some more. But the training is going well. I think this week is my biggest week. I had a 5-hour ride and a 20-minute run off today. and I had a long swim yesterday, and I'm still playing my game. I am stuck on level
Oh, no.
685. It's
We did
so
get
bad.
someone. Someone commented on the Instagram last time that they
Yeah.
too have been addicted to Royal Match, and
Yes.
so you are not alone. It's a
No,
very
and your
addicting game.
sister texted
No,
me and was like, "These are all the games that I play." So,
I
yeah,
had no
I'm
idea.
not
There's this
alone.
whole community of people who love
But
the iPhone game.
I did have to buy a brick. Do you know what a brick is?
Is that so that you
It's
can't
like a
can't
little,
access your phone?
yes. So I have it now set that I can't go on Instagram, Threads, or Royal Match, like in the middle of the day most of the time. And I tend to do my training at night, actually. I think just when I have more food in me, I just get a better workout in. Um, and today I went downstairs and realized that my phone was bricked. And so I had to send a text for somebody to, like, for my friend to go into my room and bring me my brick to unbrick it. Because I was like, I can't get
Wait,
to a 5-hour ride with,
how does the brick work?
you need the
Like,
physical device. It
oh, okay. So
uses, there's a little cube.
uh-huh.
There's a little cube. So you can set it to brick without the cube. You can just put it on a timer. But to
Okay.
unbrick it, you have to actually tap it. And it does that same chip or vibration that you would use for like Apple Pay.
Okay.
So
So
I
you
was
were
stuck on the bike.
downstairs on the bike and your phone went into like brick mode, would not work. So you
Hmm.
had to get someone to go get your little device, bring it to you on the trainer so that you could play your game on the trainer.
So that I could play my games, so that I could read my threads, so that I could scroll my Instagram,
You could watch the Taylor Swift music video.
watch the Taylor Swift music video. I
'Cause
watched, some of the Olympics. I
oh,
watched,
that's right.
there's some good sports going on right now. I have one episode of Heated Rivalry left. On Fridays, all of my procedurals come out. So if there's a procedural, I'm watching it. I have like my Grey's Anatomy, my SVU, all of that.
They come out on
But
Fridays.
recently I
And so
haven't,
you have it for the
well,
weekend?
they're on Thursdays.
That's
They
right.
air on
That's
Thursdays,
like
but I
must see
don't.
TV, network TV. Like the best shows come out on Thursdays, right?
Right. So that come out actually this week, they weren't out, but I guess because of the Olympics. But on Fridays, which is when I typically have my long rides, I start to catch up on them. But then I realized that nothing relaxes me more than a procedural drama. Like I can watch SVU and go to bed. So it ended up being terrible training fodder. Like I had to switch very
Yeah.
quickly to something else. Um,
You need the Olympics. I feel like
the Olympics, yeah.
watching other people work out is my favorite thing to do while working out.
And then embarrassingly, when I'm on the treadmill, I will actually watch like Ironman hype videos. And
That's
I
not
saw you and
embarrassing.
I saw you in one of them the other day, Baby
You did
Haley.
while you were on the
That
treadmill.
was while
You
I was
saw
on
that
the
video.
treadmill. Yes.
Okay.
And
You sent me the screenshot and it looked like me in 2013 in Kona coming out of the water in a very memorable day
yes,
for me. Where was that? It
it
was just
was
a hype
just
video?
it was just a hype video. So what I start with every run is one of Paul K's speeches. And then they have the
Okay, so this is
emotional music.
Ironman announcer Paul K. He is the man who is going to be announcing you when you come across the finish line as you are an Ironman. That was obviously the catchphrase coined and made famous by Mike Riley, who has since retired. And now there's a team of people who are these finish line announcers, and Paul K is one of them. And he might be the one in New Zealand. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I mean, I would like a personal petition for you to call me across the line if you're on the announcer team.
I don't think it's not quite the same thing. I think commentator, I'm on the broadcast. I like existing in a virtual space, like this in the podcast, like my
Okay.
remote work life. Announcer is very in person. Like that is like hype all day, like to an actual person coming across the line. It's a totally different skill. I don't know if I have it in me.
I think you do. And I also think you could do the hype up speech and get everybody ready to do the Iron Man clap, all of that. So I don't know how
Okay.
many times I've like rewatched it and then these videos on YouTube, and then, the algorithm just continues to spit out the same thing. And then I'm on the treadmill like emotionally crying because I think it's so cool. And then people are looking at me because I also have my fan. I'm crying. If I have
You
intervals,
are a Haley Chura athlete because no one loves to bring their own fan to the gym like a Haley Chura athlete.
mhm, there is some high maintenance treadmilling going on, and I actually couldn't get a place to plug my fan in the other day. So I went and just stood outside and sat down in the snow just to cool down and then went back in and finished my intervals. And I
Oh,
just don't
wow.
care. Like, I have this training, it's limited my ability to care about so many things at this point that I'm like, I know I look strange. Hopefully, Paul K slash Haley Chur is going to call me across the line 1 month from today. That's all that matters. I know I changed my shoes in the middle of the workout because I had 2 treadmill runs today and had to bribe myself with my super shoes for the second half. I truly do not care what I look like right now, but why is the gym 72 degrees? That is so hot for a gym. Do you
It's
agree?
that way because I think a lot of other people like it a little warm when they're working out. But I mean, that's why I would bring my own fan. I thought my gym was a little warm too. And I just noticed that when I would do really hard treadmill runs, I loved using heart rate as a metric for myself. And I would notice that my heart rate would get too high and I would get to a point where I would have to slow down because my heart rate got really high, and I thought a lot of that was because of getting too warm. And so I found that if I brought a fan and could keep myself cooler, my heart rate stayed lower, I could run faster, and my workout was better. And last week I talked with Katie a little bit about compromising workouts from heat in the sense of heat training and sauna training. And I am a big proponent of not doing that, like not like trying to get your workout to be as good as it possibly can be. And so I would actually bring my own fan to the gym, set it up. It can be hard to find that outlet and make sure you get that treadmill, especially if it's a busy gym and explain to someone where I'm like, I need this treadmill because it's only 2 of them can reach an outlet. If you have the ability to work your life around that, I think it can be worth it. And I just found that I was able to do faster runs and get that training benefit from doing a faster run at a lower heart rate, which did translate to faster running speeds as my career progressed. So I do suggest it for a lot of my athletes, especially if their gym is on the warm side and they're doing some pacing runs or some runs with intensity like it sounds like you were doing. I think it makes a difference. Have you noticed a difference when you have
Oh,
a fan versus when you don't?
absolutely. I don't want to like murder anybody around me or myself, but actually my heart rate is like 10 or 15 beats lower.
It's a big
Um,
difference, right?
and
It's a very big difference.
I get very, very, very hot when I train. Actually, I was telling you the other day that 50 minutes into a swim, I feel like I'm going to throw up. Um, and I do train at the Y. I know the pool can be a little warmer there. So I actually brought, like, as you suggested, cold water to splash on my face, and it helped for my long swim yesterday. So I run very hot when I train. So that's also another reason for picking New Zealand is I was not interested in doing. I mean, I know the sun is very hot down there, but the morning it'll be 39 degrees Fahrenheit. And that
Right,
is
because last
actually
week
very
Katie Tresson-Torning scared me a little when was said she was expecting New Zealand to be as hot as Kona, and I was like, "I don't even wanna commentate in that
no,
that weather."
it's the start of autumn actually, right? Because they're
Right.
at the opposite of us. So I do know there's a big variable, but it doesn't look like it gets above 70. I mean, I say this now, and I'm sure I'll jinx it. Again, I raced in Australia. The sun does feel very different just because of the ozone layer and where you are in relation to the equator, but it's not that swampy humidity that I thought Chattanooga was, and it wasn't even that hot for Chattanooga. I couldn't bring my core temperature down, and I didn't want to experience that for something that I choose to do as a hobby.
Right, and I think that as we mentioned, even 72 can feel quite warm in the gym. When you're outside, you have a little bit of wind, which does help with that. But I do think what I talked about last week were heat management skills mid race, uh, even if it isn't that hot, quote unquote. Sometimes you both feel hot, but there are ways to mitigate that. We do it in training by bringing a fan or bringing cold water to the pool, and I think we can do it in the race, as I mentioned last week, by using those aid stations. And that is something that Ironman does very well. You get what you pay for. They're expensive, but they are well-supported races. And you mentioned earlier about being afraid of getting lost. They're also well-marked, usually. Very well-marked, lots of cones.
Right.
And I think it's usually pretty hard to get lost. I mean, it happens. It does happen. And so it is good to have looked at those courses ahead of time. And that's something that's also kind of nice is you probably are going to have a chance to even maybe run a whole loop of the course before race day because it's only a 10-kilometer loop. And so I think that Ironman puts out a good product and that will help you mitigate some of those fears.
I think so. I don't know if you saw today another announcement from Ironman that, and this has to do with your commentating, they are going to be on YouTube for everybody. So the replay for Americans will be on Outside Watch, but you can actually watch on YouTube now without a VPN, which I know some people have done. But Outside Watch just never seemed to remember my username and password. So I'm excited going
Okay.
into the season to be able to watch on YouTube.
That does make me feel good because if by some chance I get myself on camera, even if it's just in the background, I want the maximum number of people to be able to see it. So that is very exciting. I missed that announcement. I'm a little behind on all of my announcements. You mentioned doing your longest swim ever. What are we up to now?
3,800, which I think when we started, I was doing like 1,600, and now my warm up is 1,000. So just a student of Haley Chura. I have nothing else to say.
I mean, and an Ironman is 3,800 meters. 2.4 miles is about 3,800 meters. You swam 3,800 yards today. How are you feeling about the Ironman swim distance?
The distance I feel okay with. I know it's a long day. I know that even if I were a great swimmer and not an adult onset swimmer, that race is not going to be won or lost in the swim. So it's just step one and just to tick the box. It will be interesting because the swim will take me probably longer than a typical triathlon I do. Will take me.
Than a sprint distance triathlon. Because
Right.
sprint distance triathlons, you can be done in an hour. And 2.4 mile swim, probably going to take a little more than an hour, even with a wetsuit. But it's just, yeah, a new challenge for you in a sport that you've been doing. How do you feel about your bike and your run volume? Are you feeling more confident in getting through the 112-mile bike and the marathon?
I'm feeling okay about the bike. There's going to be some wind on the course. It looks like a tailwind out and a headwind back, which I am fine with. If it starts to get into crosswind, it's not a good mental space for me, which you have actually witnessed. I just completely shut down. So I'm hoping that it's not that bad. There can be a little crosswind. I'm hoping that some of the ice melts and that I can take my bike outside before we go, just because I feel like I'm getting the volume in and I'm enjoying that and getting better with the nutrition and figuring out what works, and having a brick or a run off the bike definitely helps to see how the nutrition is going to settle after eating on the bike, because I can eat a 5-course meal, no problem. It's the running that's a little more challenging for my stomach. But I'm hoping, all of that is to say, I'm hoping that I can get outside and just do some bike handling before the week of the race.
And you are
And
planning to ride a road bike.
I'm in the process of selling my tri bike. I have had a couple bad experiences on it, so I feel like I just need a new tri bike. And it typically takes me until the end of the season to feel comfortable on it. And I was actually reading that because it's going to be a little hillier, some people are choosing to take their road bikes. And for me, the only reason I wanted to take a tri bike was I thought it looked cooler. And it is faster. We know it's faster. But you've also said to me, like, confidence is fast. And if I'm too nervous to get down in the aero bars, if there's a crosswind or something like that, even though that's where you want to be, you want to be lower. Um, it doesn't make a difference. And I feel great on my road bike. I love that bike. It was the first bike I've raced, and we've gone around the world together. And I'm a little embarrassed to be taking the road bike, but also justice for road bikes. That's what they ride in the Olympics.
Right. I don't think there's anything to be embarrassed about. I think that you're doing an Ironman. That's impressive. Not many people can even do that. And the way you do it, however you have to do it, is the right way. There is no one right way. I think triathletes sometimes can get a little bit caught up in the hype and thinking that group mentality of wanting to do things a certain way. But if you look at the history of our sport, I think there's lots of examples of innovation and people doing things a different way. And at first it seems crazy. And then all of a sudden everyone's doing it or doing things because they work for them. I think of myself in a way, there's certain things like I love running in a sports bra. And you're still allowed to do that, thankfully, in Ironman. That was one of the things where I was like, I gotta retire before they make me cover up too much. And I feel like I would get a little bit of pushback in recent years because people liked having sleeves and they, I think on the bike there's an aerodynamic benefit, but I'm like, you cannot tell me there's a benefit while running. If there was a benefit while running, every marathoner would be running in full sleeves. But I think the cooling
Right.
benefit
They
I
would look like
get,
the speed skaters.
right. And I'm like, you watch a marathon and they are wearing like a bikini, basically. And women at least. And so I think it's very easy to criticize in this day and age. And but ultimately you are the person who's out there and you need to be comfortable with your setup. And I would say anyone who is tentative in the wind, the advice I give is when you have a headwind, mostly that's a frustration. You're going slower, you feel like you're going harder, and hopefully it's not usually scary. It's more of a frustration because it slows you down. And if you for some reason fall off your bike in a headwind, you're probably going so slow it won't even hurt. Tailwind can
Haley, I
feel
was going
great.
5 miles an hour when I fell off my bike.
That was a different situation because something did get stuck in your front wheel. And so when
It's
that
true.
happens, you're going to have a very jarring flip forward, which is a very, very different experience than like falling over because of wind. When you're going like 1 mile an hour falling over to the side, I'm sure you've done that too. When you're like clip
Mhm.
in and you unclip the wrong side and you fall
Yes.
over, it's mostly embarrassing. You're not usually hurt, but it is mostly embarrassing. I'm sure it's possible to get hurt, especially if you have low bone density like yours truly. But for the most part, I mean, I've fallen over many times. The only times I have actually broken anything, I was going very fast. So when you're going slower, I mean, you're okay. Tailwind, you are going faster, but also that's usually fun because you're going so fast. It can be a little warmer when you have a tailwind, but usually it's pretty fun, just like letting that push you. Crosswind, I think the physics of what it would take to push you off your bike is so much wind, like so much wind. Is it possible? Sure, but it happens very rarely. And a lot of the time, like when I've raced in Hawaii and there were a lot of crosswind gusts, it does make sense to put weight on your front wheel. The nice thing is that you aren't riding super deep dish wheels. So if you have, I think in Hawaii they limited 80 millimeters for your front wheel. And I would usually ride 60 millimeter rims on my front wheel. So, it's aerodynamic, but it does create more of a surface area for a crosswind coming from the side. You want to put weight on your front wheel because your rear wheel has a ton of weight on it, like your butt's on your rear wheel, but the front wheel is what would catch. And so put your weight on your front, lean toward the front, and you're going to be pretty stable. On a road bike, you're going to be so stable. And you can also watch some of the athletes in front of you if it is very gusty, and you'll watch them like kind of move over, and you can kind of anticipate that. It's also a little bit counterintuitive, but you want to stay a little bit more like fluid and flexible, not get super rigid and hard, and that's going to help to absorb that wind. But If you need to stop at an aid station and hold out for a second, do it. Get some water, get some food in you. But I would encourage you, if you're going all the way to New Zealand, if you're going all the way to one of these races, like, do what you need to do to get yourself on the bike. Go the slowest roll. The slowest roll is better than stopping. And you just want to keep yourself moving forward.
Okay. I yeah, I've been reading a lot about that, and then also like turning into the wind, they were saying from some of the
Yes.
videos I was watching about the course itself. Like if you get that front crosswind to turn into it, um, which is also for me more comfortable on the road bike. So we'll see. It's going to be a lot of information, and I'm sure at the end of the day, I'm going to remember the start line and the finish line, and I'll say I never want to do it again, and then there's a habit of people continuing to sign up for these races afterwards. So we'll see how long it takes. Um, and then the run, it will be long. It'll I'm I'm gonna finish the race.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna finish the race.
Yes. I mean, it is the once you get on the run, y- you can walk a marathon. Like, that's okay. Plenty of people do it. And, it is, as someone who's walked a fair amount in Ironman marathons, it's a lot more fun if you're running. It's also you're done and, like, to your quesadilla a lot faster if you can keep yourself running. So the more you can keep yourself running, even the slowest jog, and Ironman marathons are a little bit different because than a traditional marathon, a standalone marathon, because I think a standalone marathon, you're pacing yourself and you're trying not to go too hard. In an Ironman marathon, typically you're trying not to slow down too much. I have had very few instances where I actually, like, was able to go too hard in an Ironman marathon just because you are starting it at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You've already been exercising for 5 or 6 hours. And so it's a different kind of experience, but it is one where you are going to be surrounded by people who are doing the exact same thing as you, who you respect and admire, and who respect and admire you for putting yourself in this position of doing something really hard that you've never done before, and really challenging, and taking those challenges of the day and challenging yourself to meet them and to problem solve and to keep yourself going. So ultimately, as our guest a couple weeks ago, Ava G. Schiff, she talked about the return on investment on your first Ironman being so big, because you take this thing that seems impossible and then you do it and you get it done. You get that finish line moment, and you can translate that to other areas of your life where you thought something was impossible, but if you break it up and take it, one stroke, one pedal rotation, one step at a time, you can get it done.
See, this is why we need you as the opening speech for all of these Ironman races, which will be shown on YouTube. So here's our petition for
Perfect.
our
That's all I
listener.
do. That's all I do is campaign. I'm like, hire me, hire me. I need another job. But yeah, hopefully this does come to fruition, and it is fun to still be part of the sport for me, as I'm not actively pro racing, but I would love to be someone who uses those skills that I got while pro racing to not only coach but commentate, and then I am hopeful I can throw a few cheers out there on the course, your way, Katie's way, and to all the other athletes. I hopefully we have more listeners who will be in New Zealand. That would be a very fun time. I You mentioned the Olympics, and the Winter Olympics just started. I I've not quite had a chance to watch any of it yet. My media consumption has gone way down, along with my training time, and the weather here in Bozeman is just so good. I used to be a person who trained exactly what was on my schedule regardless of the weather. I never even looked at the weather. And now that I don't have a coach and I don't really have a training plan and I do whatever, I obsessed about the weather. It's so fascinating. And we have had such nice weather here. So I have got to get myself outside, which has meant very little media time. But the nice thing now is that, like I mentioned, I'm not on my phone a lot. So I don't get any spoilers, but I am ready for some spoilers. Have there been any good events that I need to watch the replays of?
Oh, it just started today. And the opening ceremony was today, but the fashion has been amazing. My favorites, and I had sent you some of them, but my favorites are Team USA opening ceremony, Ralph Lauren. the Mongolian team, the Mongolian cashmere is gorgeous. Um, what else? Oh, Big Air is something that I watched today where they go very fast and then they get big air on their snowboards and do a lot of flips. And that's about all I
Okay.
can describe, which is,
So you go off of one big jump.
yes,
Is
the whole
that
thing
what
is
they're
done in
doing?
like 4 seconds. And it
Okay.
is everything I would personally hate, which would be descending quickly, and flipping, because I don't know how to flip on land, air, or in water. Um, but I'm watching it like, oh, he only got four. I don't know how many he's supposed to get, but I'm like, oh, he only got four. And the commentators are talking about that.
That's his
Um,
score. His score. So it's a
no, no,
judged
no, four
sport.
flips. And this is
Oh,
coming from
okay.
somebody who like belly flops in water, because you can actually do an in water belly flop if you are me trying to do a flip turn in the water.
Uh-huh.
But I'm just fascinated by it. And I learned that everything has to be on snow or ice, because I saw somebody post something like, wait, why is an indoor track in the Winter Olympics? And it's because everything has to be on snow or ice.
Interesting.
Because you would think, right? Like, this makes sense. Let them
Yeah.
do indoor track, but no. Do you have a sport that you think you would be most inclined to do if you were a Winter Olympian?
Uh Last week I talked to Katie Cheston-Torney about skiing. I did grow up skiing. I never raced. My mom was a ski racer. I forgot to ask Katie about this, but I believe Katie's mom actually
Yes.
skied in the Olympics, at the Lake Placid Olympics. And so that's something that Katie doesn't always talk about, but I should have grilled her on that. And next time we have her on, I'll make sure we bring that up. But I think, which is odd because I think when I was younger, that kind of event, downhill skiing, would have really appealed to me. Just the 90-second race, all out. It's kind of what I did in swimming. I swam the 200, which was about a 2-minute race. And, but now, no, I would probably be more in the like, I don't know how to Nordic ski, but like I need an endurance event. I need,
I could see you as a speed skater.
I do love the speed skating. I'm fascinated by years ago when Niles Vanderpool won the gold medal in the 5K and 10K speed skating, and he released his training logs. Those were something I studied as because of how he approached these. I think they're like 9 to 13 minute events, but with 5-hour bike rides and just tons of aerobic volume. And I've used that philosophy with a lot of my athletes who are injury prone with running.
Mm.
Can we train for a running event without maybe necessarily doing a ton of running volume, but get that fitness from cycling? And I think Ironman shows that. I don't know if, I mean, you probably have seen it in your own training. We do a lot of bike volume and a lot less running because the cost of running is more. And I think with speed skaters, it's not the cost of speed skating physically, but I think ice time is actually very expensive. You are very limited to when you can be on the ice. And so they don't spend as much time training on the ice. And so there are things to be learned, I think, from winter sports that we can take to our summer sports. But what about you? Do you have an event that you would love to do?
Um, I think slalom skiing would look the coolest, but again, I don't like descending. Um, and I don't like flipping, so that takes out any of like the snowboarding, ski, aerial work. Maybe ice skating, just because it's so driven by music, and I love music and how they combine their routine with their music.
What would be your song? I feel like now they allow pop songs
They
and
do.
very interesting music choices. So, could you pick one?
I feel like when I was younger, I probably would have picked something like very traditional, classical or opera. But now it would probably
As all
be
young people do.
right, because I was a totally
Yeah.
normal kid. Um, Now I would probably pick like Blink-182.
Okay. I feel like that would
Yeah.
be unique. I can't imagine as we watch these Olympics there'll be a lot of Blink-182, but maybe as it's cold in New York, I don't know if I would suggest starting ice skating while training for the Ironman. Maybe wait till after New Zealand. especially with those brand new teeth. Let again. I think the odds of losing those teeth in ice skating accident might be a little bit higher than
Mhm.
a swimming accident, but I will imagine you doing a nice skating routine to Blink 182, and we'll continue to watch these Olympics and hopefully opine on how they go over the next couple weeks and talk about our favorite events as more of the games unfold.
Haley, are there any Bozeman natives who are there that you know of?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I should probably know that. There might be. I'm sure that's been in the paper, but again, my media consumption has been very low. The Paralympics, the Winter Paralympics, I know Danny Arovich was named to the Winter Paralympics Nordic ski team, and I I'm not sure if she does biathlon. I think she might just do Nordic skiing, but she has lived here in Bozeman. I'm not sure if she's currently living here. She might have moved to Minnesota. I know the last time I saw her actually cycling last summer, I
Oh,
saw her
cool.
out riding and I chatted and she was talking about a pending move. But they used to have a pretty big Paralympic team here. Kendall Gretsch, who
Hmm.
competed in paratriathlon, actually races in the Winter Olympics as well. And I saw Lauren Parker, who was the wheelchair paratri winner at where were these most recent Olympics? I feel like Paris.
Paris.
She's
Hmm.
also now doing winter
Oh, that's so cool.
Paralympics. Yes, and so there's a lot of. I feel like between the triathlon, paratri, and paraskiing, a lot of crossover.
Okay.
So I think a lot of our favorite paratri athletes are also doing the Winter Paralympics. So that's fun. I mean, even if whether
Yeah.
they're from Bozeman or not, it's just kind of fun to root for those athletes.
And that starts in March. So I think there's a 2-week break and then it picks up again in March.
Yeah, it might be while we're in New Zealand. I think those opening ceremonies are happening. So fun things to look forward to in the next month or so. Sam, I will let you go to bed since it looks like it's very dark where you are. Get some sleep before all of your next training sessions. Hang in there for this last month. Think happy thoughts. Have happy dreams. I think we might be able to catch up one more time before the race day, but if not, it's been fun following your adventure, and we'll definitely catch up afterwards to chat more about your first Ironman experience.
Thanks, Haley.